yards from a Cape Buffalo, the Black Death. Pulled off a frontal shot. And me watching this from about 10 yards behind knew it was a terrible shot. Or not terrible, but I knew it was placed probably about 3 inches too low, smacking that buffalo straight in the brisket. The buffalo turned, did a full 180, so its arse is facing us now, and then next minute jumped back around, and the client hit it again with the second shot. I didn't see where the second shot went, but all I knew is it pissed that buffalo off and came charging. How's it, guys, and welcome to another episode of the PH Journals podcast. Today's episode, not only is it very, very special because we're going to, for the first time in our podcasting history, we're going to be giving away a gift. It also is our second last podcast of the 2020 season. 2020 has been incredibly hard on most of us, and we just felt it was fitting to have 2 more episodes left before we kick off the 2021 season with a very good friend of mine. He's been on the podcast before, Patrick Dugan. He's got a wealth of knowledge when it comes to the political status as far as America is concerned with the whole Biden-Trump campaign. And what does this mean for us as professional hunters in South Africa and Africa alike? What does the future hold if either vote goes either way? So, yeah, that's a pretty cool podcast to kick off my season next year, and I can't wait. I start hunting with Pat on the 28th of December, and it's extremely exciting, especially after the struggling year we've had. Guys, like I mentioned, it's December time. It's time to give back, and it's time to spend with loved ones, family, and friends. And from the PH Journals team, we would love to announce, and a big thanks to PH Toolbox and Merrell, we will be giving away a set of hunting, hiking, camping, whichever category you want to put it in, boots. They're genuine leather, waterproof, lightweight. I mean, those of you that are watching this on YouTube, I'm literally holding them up with 2 fingers. I've always used Courtney's when I'm out in the field, and just because of the durability, and they're extremely comfortable. So this is a nice little in-betweener that we've got. They're really lightweight, they're extremely comfortable, they're genuine leather and waterproof. So when you're hunting those early morning, the dew's not going to make it too heavy. And I can't wait to test them out. Light soles, really soft underfoot, and those of you that enjoy an ankle high boot will thoroughly enjoy these. So a big shout out to Merrell and PH Toolbox for letting us give you guys the opportunity to win yourself a pair of these. Remember, we do ship worldwide, so this doesn't limit anyone to entering this competition. All you have to do is take a picture of yourself listening or watching this podcast, or just a screenshot, tag us in it, or send us the image via Instagram, Facebook, or even email. I'll put all the links down below, and you will stand a very good chance of winning an awesome pair of boots. I'm very privileged to sit here in this position and be able to do this. So I just this is just our way of saying a very big thank you to all our loyal followers and supporters. Thank you so much for the support you guys have been giving. This isn't, however, the last time we would be giving away something. Next week's episode, we'll be giving away a no-scent hamper. And if you are a young PH coming through, I would highly recommend you enter this one, because no scent has been tapping the South African industry for some time now, and they're making huge headway. So pretty stoked about that one for next week. Well, guys, the podcast wouldn't be possible, obviously, without our awesome sponsors. Firstly, I'm going to kick it off with Healthy Coffee Guy and the guys at Designer Health Products, the official drink of the PH Journals podcast. I've been drinking their coffee for some time now, and on this show, I'll be having the CBD coffee. Awesome nutritional value, and of course, it tastes absolutely fantastic. I can't wait to try some of the more of their products. Like I know they've got the CBD blend, the water. I definitely will be having some of them on my hunting excursion come the 28th of December. Then, of course, the usual sponsors, Tactacam, Film Your Own Hunt, Splitting Image Taxidermy. If you're looking for a local taxidermy, guys, Splitting Image is streaks ahead of anyone else, and they deliver an awesome product. And not only do they deliver, but they also, the communications is next level. Next up, Treezyn Camo. Don't just blend, become. Been using Treezyn for some time now, and I can't wait to kick 2021 off in the new early season gear. Then, of course, my very own PH Toolbox. I started this e-commerce business not only to make a nice little bit of side income, but as well to help my outdoor enthusiasts when the seasons are quiet through our very own affiliate marketing program. It's been up now. We've been up and running for about 3 months as far as affiliate marketing program goes. And I must say the success that we've seen in such a short space of time with your guys' support has been incredible. And I can't wait to get the season going because I know it will only pick up from there. So a big shout out to all the pro staff members and everyone that's involved at PH Toolbox. Guys, so today's episode is based on shot placement. Now, it's been one of the topics that has been sent to me or DM'd me the most. I've had request on request on request when I started this the podcasting journey to do shot placements. The thing where I've treaded lightly and I've how can I say, I've played safe waters with it is because shot placement differs from hunter to hunter, situation to situation, and stalk to stalk. What I can do and what I would like to do in this episode is share my experiences I've had in the field on shot placement and why I do what I do. It's been extremely encouraging to see over the past couple of years when I've taken all the knowledge that I've learned in camp out onto the field and seen the success when I get out there. I want to start off by saying the most common one being asked is being the shot placement on an ostrich. Now, I don't know how many ostriches people are planning to shoot for the next season, but let me just tell you this. The ostrich gearbox, or the vitals, or what we like to call them, sits in front of the animal. So it sits in front of the shoulders. So if you want to shoot an ostrich, shoot it at the base of the neck. The gearbox is there. I don't know why this has been requested most of the time. The one thing I do want to highlight about an ostrich, if you're planning to keep the leather, you don't want to shoot it in the body because you want to try and preserve as much of the leather as possible. And therefore you want to go with the more difficult shot in the head. The next one that's been asked time and time again is a giraffe other than the headshot. And it pretty much goes the same with the ostrich, but except the giraffe's vitals are a little bit high in the shoulder. So if that's what you're planning on doing, that would be the best place to shoot a giraffe. Guys, I can go on and on about where the vitals sit in animals, but quite frankly, we had a book in Lodge that showed everyone where the shot placements are on each specific species, going from going from Cape Buffalo right down to Blue Darker. So for me, it's not about sharing where the gearbox or where the vital organs are of the animal. It's more about sharing certain scenarios that I've experienced out in the field that have helped me with the success I've had today, and where I see myself improving on certain hunts going forward in the future. Now remember, these are my experiences, and each PH has got their different experiences and different opinions on shot placement. The most important thing I do want to highlight is if you are coming over and your PH is with you, you need to trust him with everything you've got. Guys, professional hunters make mistakes, and we are learning from them every single day. We call it school fees. And The point of this is not to scare you, but it's more to encourage you to have a lot of faith in your pH, because more often than not, they've made these mistakes in the past and they've rectified them, delivering the best possible service they can have for you at the moment. So for myself, one of the most interesting animals to hunt as far as shot placement goes, and I'm going to tell you two very cool stories about it, is the buffalo and my hippo experience. Before I do this, I would like to just categorize my animals in various different categories, but I've got two main categories. I call them the vertical and horizontal category. The vertical category are animals like your roan and your sable, animals that stand tall, stand on their front hooves, stand proud, have got what we call in South Africa a bit of houding, a bit of bossiness to them, a bit of attitude. And those animals, I tend to like to place my shots on the front shoulder, on the shoulder exactly, other than just behind, like we often get told. And the reason for that is I just feel that because they stand tall on their front shoulders, on their front hoof, the more damage you can do to the frontal areas of the animal, the quicker that animal is going to go down and the quicker your success is going to be. I don't mean this by a frontal shot. Look, as far as hunting goes, I believe a frontal shot is one of those shots that is extremely risky. Given knowing what you're doing and you can do it right, it can really pay off. But as a professional hunter for your clients, whether you be a first time to Africa or an experienced African hunter, you would want to give them the best possible opportunity to retrieve that animal in the shortest space of time. And for me, the most success is obviously side on. Horizontal animals go buffalo, blesbuck, zebra, the rest of the herd. And the reason why I say horizontal is if you look at just below their rib cage from their brisket side, it's sort of like a flat plane. And the reason why I say go for the just behind the shoulder shot is that's often where the most damage gets done. They're more, my personal opinion, I feel when you shoot them, they're more of a lazier animal to get going before the adrenaline kicks in. And therefore, this is where I've had most of my success. Like I said earlier, it differs from professional hunter to professional hunter, from situation to situation. Getting into it, the buffalo story. So, other than the two, or actually three weirdest requests, the first one was an ostrich, the second one was a giraffe, and then the third was a warthog, funny enough. I'll get into that a little bit later. But then straight after that were numerous requests on buffalo. Now, I've been hunting buffalo now for some time, and I've had incredible success. But one of the stories that have led to my success was I must have been about 3 years into my professional hunting career, and we came across, and I was skivvy hunting. So I was appy hunting. I was tagging along with another really experienced professional hunter, and one that I've learned a hell of a lot from. We were tagging along, and we came across a herd of buffalo. We singled out the buffalo that we wanted to shoot, and buffalo came straight on. And he was looking straight at us. We had about a 70-yard shot through some of the thick trees. And one of the things I remember, especially doing my professional hunting course, was we had to do a charging buffalo scene. And I remember one of the guys going down on his haunches and actually sitting flat on his bottom, his arse, and pulling off the shot. And he was failed during that test. And the reason was, obviously, common knowledge was you don't sit on your arse, because if you need to run, you need to run. But I saw a scenario go down where the hunter and the professional hunter were lying on their stomachs at 70 yards from a Cape buffalo, the Black Death. pulled off a frontal shot. And me watching this from about 10 yards behind knew it was a terrible shot. Or not terrible, but I knew it was placed probably about 3 inches too low, smacking that buffalo straight in the brisket. The buffalo turned, did a full 180, so its arse is facing us now, and then next minute jumped back around, and the client hit it again with the second shot. I didn't see where the second shot went, but all I knew is it pissed that buffalo off and came charging for us. Now, I had a backup rifle together with another well-experienced professional hunter right next to me, also having a backup rifle. And as I pulled my rifle up, the PH next to me had already put 2 holes in it. And then the PH lying down on his stomach next to the client finished it off with the buffalo probably about 10 feet away from the hunter. It was so close that you could smell the adrenaline in both the animal, and I don't know if it was the hunter that cucked himself a bit, but there was just this odor of sheer adrenaline, fear, and uncertainty. And that's what grew my professional hunting experiences, because, I understood in that situation that they were gifted a presentation by the animal, and the PH, the professional hunter, decided to put his best interests, not everyone else's, but his best interests first. And that was to try and shoot an animal given hell or high water. Now, the reason why I'm telling you this story is because a little while later, a couple of years had passed, and I found myself in the very same situation. I found myself at the Fish River a couple of years later, and it was probably the hunt that I learned the most from and appreciated, enjoyed, was frustrated, was everything, all the emotions piled into one. The story goes is every year there's a couple of permits that are released for hippo in the Fish River that have been pushed out from the herd by younger, more dominant bulls. And the locals in the Ciskei along the banks of the Fish River have developed maize lands where they use the river for obviously irrigation purposes. So it was one of those hunts where I went into an environment that I was not familiar with. I went into certain landscapes that I'd never hunted before, but putting no excuses out there, it was I didn't understand the ecosystem, the system that was being developed in the Fish River. So getting there was a huge eye-opener, but we get there, so I pick up a local, he's seen the hippo in the area, get down to the banks of the river, drive along one of the maize fields, and literally within 20 minutes of arriving, we spot this massive bull. But you can see he's old. He's definitely got the characteristics of being old. He's got all the pigment that's fading around his eyebrows. He's been beat up. his nostrils been torn to pieces by obviously the more dominant bulls. So we get there. We get within. I mean, the Fish River is not. It's long. There's a lot of river. It's probably about. Somebody said the other day it's probably about 25 kilometers from mouth to where the Fish River reserve starts. So we're hunting in 25 kilometers worth of river space, but it's not very wide. It's probably at the widest point was probably about 50 meters wide, and then obviously depending on how wide the mouth is at the time. But so we get there, we get within 10, 15 yards of this big bull, and inexperience kicks in. The river's pushing, tide's going out, So the closer we try and get, because we need to suss out if this is a nice mature bull. I mean, I saw the characteristics, but it's nice to spend a bit of time just to make sure that this is the bull that we want to take, because, you know, ultimately we want to take the one that's been causing the most amount of havoc. Anyway, we get there, and the bull, because of the pushing tide, it just bounces along the riverbed a lot quicker than what we can anticipate or get close to. About 70% of our stalk is on our hands and knees, is through thick shrub. I mean, you can't see 2-3 yards in front of you. It's incredibly thick there. Anyway, the process of the hunt goes on, and for the next 4 days, we would have seen the bull maybe about 3 times, and not obviously getting enough opportunity to pull off a shot. Frustration crept in. I've never found myself being mentally, emotionally, physically beaten on a hunt like that before. And in some ways, in some senses, it was humbling. But like I said, the frustration kicks in, and it sort of overpowers your thought process. So I'm sitting last day. It's a 15-day safari. We sussed out that day 4, day 5 would be our last day. As a group, we decided that. We had obviously other species that we needed to hunt. And waking up 3 o'clock every morning, going to bed 12, 1 o'clock in the morning was extremely and physically demanding on your body. So we wake up on the final morning, and from the minute I opened my eyes, I decided in my head that come hell or high water, no matter what shot that animal presents itself, we're going to take. And looking back now, I can weigh up the 2 different hunts, the buffalo hunt and this hippo hunt, as sort of being that sort of storybook that was being written. The buffalo hunt, I didn't realize it until I joined the hunt that they had been struggling to get the main bull as well for a couple of days now. So they had a match of a matchless, same sort of pattern followed. We get down to the Fish River banks and decided that I was going to get a couple of locals and place them along the riverbanks with my tracker. Obviously, they needed a bit of knowledge within how the animals react and stuff. So, because I wanted them elevated, didn't want anyone to get harmed. And they were just basically going to be my eyes and ears along the riverbed to tell me which sort of direction the hippopods were going. This bull would obviously not be in the pod, so it would have given us a better idea where he would have been. Would he have been downriver or more upriver? Anyway, cut a long story short, we settled down on the banks of a certain section on the river, a little bit more downstream, because I anticipated the tide to start pushing from about 11 o'clock, started going out. So if the bull was higher in the river, he would start coming down towards the mouth. We get there, we have our brunch, and I had a local guy sit next to me, and the one client actually dozed off a bit. And this local gentleman tapped me on my knee, and he pointed underneath an acacia bush. And I get down and I look and I see it's a hippo, but, you know, this bull had distinct markings on his eyebrows. And I couldn't see his eyebrows because of the angle the hippo's head was at. And he flicked, you know, when they flick that, they do that thing with their ears, and I saw immediately the pigment fading on the eyebrows. Because that was always my first telltale sign of the big bull, because I'd seen him 3 or 4 times, and I knew that was the first section of the body of the animal that I would pick up first, that's saying that that's the particular bull we're after. And I kept my cool, waited a little while longer, and I saw the scars on his nose, and I knew this was our bull. So I waited, didn't say anything. And as he got to the edge of the acacia bush, now this acacia tree must have been hanging about 2 or 3 feet over the riverbed. And on the sides of the river, it's a sheer drop, you know, it's deep from the wash. Tapped my clients on the shoulder, hunting with the open sight 375, close quarters solids. And I say to him, I say, look, when that animal is out from the acacia tree, because I don't want anything to affect the trajectory of that bullet, whether it be a branch, leaf, whatever. When that animal comes out and he presents himself with a shot, because by this stage, we are so frustrated. We are tired. We're sweating. The ticks have bitten us to pieces. It's almost about to, the wind's about to pick up. And then we knew once that wind pick up, we call it our day. And the hippo slowly emerged from the acacia tree. And then I saw my client get ready on his haunches. And at the time, I thought it was a good enough presentation of the skull for my client to take the shot. And bear in mind, the hippo was facing away from us because he didn't see us there. So he was facing away from us. Close shot, close range shot, 10, 15 yards. And I instructed my client to shoot, which he did. And absolute chaos went about. Kicking, thrashing in the pools, legs, whatever, mud flying, and then a deafening silence. Dead silence. Dead. Not even the current from the river pushing was making ripples in the river, and we waited. And 15 minutes became half an hour became an hour became 2 hours, and eventually we made the decision we needed to go back around the river. So back over the bridge. It was probably about another 3-hour excursion just to get across the river 50 meters. I wasn't going to put anyone into the riverbed knowing that could possibly be a wounded hippo in there. Prodding around and absolutely nothing. And the sheer devastation that went through me that day was, I didn't have much hope. Although we did make an extra day of it. We went and hired a boat, drove upriver, and we just didn't find anything. We put out a reward to any one of the locals that would manage to bring back a skull or any sort of body part of the hippo. Would give them a reward, but nothing, absolutely nothing. And I boil it down to the client did everything that he was told to do, and just basically the professional hunter being asked to exert his knowledge, his full knowledge of the situation. And looking back now, if I had taken a day's break between, taking a day off and hunted another species or anything like that, would have made all the difference. But like I said, you live and you learn, and ultimately you don't want to make the same mistakes. And it's one of the lessons that I have learned the hardest from, because we put in so much effort day in, day out, and it just to end the way it ended was incredibly heartbreaking and frustrating. But like I said, I didn't do it without having fun. I look back now, and I think it's the story I tell the most around the campfires, because I remember everything, every blade of grass I stepped on, and it was incredibly rewarding, but at the same time frustrating. So, yeah. I guess not every story has a happy ending, I guess. But yeah, guys, basically, like I said, shot placement can go between two different pHs, can mean completely two different things. And one of the things that I've learned now is to make sure that you are in a correct frame of mind when you're guiding a client, because he entrusts in you, and he has to trust you that you are going to make the right call at the right time. And as a professional hunter, it's you putting yourself in the correct position at the right time. So yeah, another cool story that I found out about shot placement very early on in my career, and it was on a buffalo, and this was a more happier story. We, on a buffalo, those of you guys that know the anatomy, the shoulder goes down and it sort of does a V going into the elbow. And a client, well, I was doing another appy hunt, a skivvy hunt, tagging along with another well-experienced professional hunter. He's actually retired today, and he's chilling in his house down at the coast. But he taught me a lot, and one of the things I learned, and I still use to this day, is when we load our magazine, when we go out, the client, he'll have a solid, soft, and me, as a backup rifle, I'll have a soft, solid. And it worked really well. I mean, I went out with him and we stalked this herd of buffalo for some time, came up, got within 100 yards. The client pulled off a magnificent shot just behind the shoulder where you want it. And next minute, his follow-up shot was high, right below, well, not right below, about 3 inches at an angle from the top of the shoulder. And the buffalo dropped on the spot. And we waited a couple of minutes, and next minute we hear the death bellow, and I was just like, okay, well, that didn't go according to plan. So I get back to the lodge. I didn't want to ask any questions in front of the clients, and I said to him, that follow-up shot, you cocked that up, right? He said, no, it was all planned. In a very relaxed sort of tone. And I was like, all planned. I said, I've never seen anything like that. He said, yeah, well, for me, with a confident shot that I was confident my client put into the buffalo, oftentimes they don't always reload as quickly, and the buffalo tend to veer off, and your stalk becomes intensively longer than what it should be. And he said my follow-up shot was directly on the shoulder, shattering both shoulder blades and dropping the animal there and then. And I was like, yes, that's an interesting way of seeing, but it only comes with experience and time and faith and belief in the client's shot. So obviously, he always said to me, he said, when you're buffalo hunting, and if you're not a follow-up shooter, I'm not personally, but he was. He said, and you're 100% certain of your client's first shot, always just make things a lot easier for yourself and drop the animal there and then. And it made complete sense to me, and I use it now to this day. If my clients put in 2 good shots, just for us to save us and save the animal that extra bit of endurance or pain or whatever, just to put that shoulder blade, shatter that shoulder blade and make sure that that animal stays on the spot, and just give it some time to ultimately pass away. And it's been an incredible learning experience for me, because I never thought it would be possible to do until I put myself in that situation. So for myself to all the younger generations out there, guys, learn, listen, and hunt with as many top quality PHs as you possibly can out there, because you'll never, ever, till the day you stop hunting, stop learning. And that's an important lesson I've had to learn myself. Because, you know, when you're a young professional hunter and you come on the scene and you think you know everything, and you can quickly be humbled and put in your place by a couple of bad decisions, a couple of bad mistakes, and unnecessary school fees that you have to pay. And these have been incredible adventures that I've been on. I'm forever grateful for them. Some of them haven't been as successful as what they should have been, but we've lived, we've learned, and I've got a cool story to share with you guys at the end of each one of them. And it's been myself, putting myself in those certain situations, that I get to share these experiences with you guys. So guys, for myself, as far as shot placement goes, I've got one more. The black and blue wildebeest. Don't shoot it in the scoff. No, they're a unique animal where the neck, there's about a 6-inch gap between the neck and parts of the top upper shoulder, where you need to make sure that if that's where you think your client has shot the animal, make sure he follows it up with a very good shot next, because when that animal wakes up from that scoff shot, he's not going to slow down and he's not going to stop. So guys, do your research, and these experiences need to be had and lessons need to be learned. So yeah, that's all I can say as far as shot placement goes. I mean, we can really get into the anatomy of things, but we don't want to. I just want to share some cool messages with you guys, some of the experiences I've had in the field as far as shot placement goes. And there's various other important points like bullet selection, rifle selection, all that sort of stuff, but we'll get into that as we progress. But for now, research is extremely important, and animal behavior before and after the shot is not increasingly, but also extremely important to understand your animal's behavior after the shot happens, to where you can anticipate where that sort of animal will go. Would he go up a hill? Would he go down? Do they go through rivers? Don't they go through rivers? I'll share that with you on the next episode after the shot, where we can figure out on certain techniques that you guys can follow as far as blood trails, animal behavioral, and just run-of-the-mill sort of telltale signs where you can look out for where certain animals have gone into, how they die, and what sort of characteristics do they follow once the shot has been taken. Well guys, that ends a pretty long episode, but extremely worth it. I had fun doing it. It's cool to share some and reminisce on some of the past stories and adventures that I've been on, and I get to do this now on a wider scale than just around the campfire, which is pretty cool. So yeah, one more episode now to go. Don't forget about the awesome competition involving the Merrell boots. Remember, we do ship worldwide, so entries aren't limited to South Africa only. It's worldwide. I would like as many people that follow this podcast to enter, and I look forward to seeing all the cool images and posts that you guys will be sending me. But from myself, Dylan Love, the whole PH Toolbox team, pro staff members, affiliate marketers, and myself, I just want to extend a very big thank you to everyone that supported us. Hope you guys have a fantastic festive season. Remember to share a lot of stories with loved ones, family and friends, because you deserve it. It's been a intensively struggling year, and 2021 can only get better. So once again, have a great day ahead. If you're in South Africa, we're having some amazing rain down in the Eastern Cape. But if you're anywhere else in the world, I hope you have a wonderful Sunday. Stay true to yourself, stay happy, and we'll catch up with you guys soon. Cheers.